Дякую, пане Ендрю, за цю промову. А зараз я хотів би запросити на сцену тих людей, які безпосередньо працювали над виставкою, які створили цю креативну експозицію, які доклали всіх зусиль з тим, щоб сьогодні ми зібралися в цьому залі і маніфестували перед усім світом про підтримку України міжнародною спільнотою, державами, людьми і військовими, які перебувають в рядах Збройних сил України. Я хочу запросити на цю сцену куратора з американського боку, пані Лорен Гійом. Будь ласка. А також проєкт-менеджера фонду Марію Саморезову. І тепер українські куратори, співкуратори. Я запрошую на сцену Юрія Горпинича, заступника генерального директора. Марину Богуш, куратора. Аню Войтович, Людмилу Никорич, Антона Логова, художників. Дорога українсько-американська команда, результатом співпраці якої постала ця прекрасна експозиція у музеї війни, у музеї, що являє собою місце сили, місце пам'яті нашого народу. Дозвольте мені приєднатися до всіх вітань і подякувати вам за успішну роботу. Дуже дякую. І зараз я хочу передати слово Юрію Гарпиничу. Прошу.
Добрий день, шановні друзі. Нам дуже приємно бачити вас всіх сьогодні в цьому залі і побачити на власні очі прекрасну виставку, яку ми створили спільно з нашими друзями і партнерами з Сполучених Штатів Америки. Коли ми почали працювати над проєктом, ми для себе усвідомили одну річ, що це було надзвичайно несподівано. Те, що нас вразило, це мотивація іноземців, які воюють за нас, за Україну. Ми розуміємо нашу мотивацію, ми боремося за наше виживання, за суверенітет і незалежність нашої держави. Але та щирість і людяність, з якою вони долучились до нас, вона надихнула нас неймовірно, надихнула наше військо, надихає нас як музейників, і ми надзвичайно вдячні кожному іноземному воїну, який зараз боронить нашу землю. І вічна шана загиблим героям. Слава Україні!
Будь ласка, відео на екран. Люда, Антон, підійдіть сюди, відео на екран.
The R.T.W. Weatherman Foundation began our work in Ukraine out of a duty and honor to protect and to support Ukraine for freedom and for all the values that we believe in as democracies around the world. We are a trusted liaison now for international families of the missing and the fallen in action, and in addition to all of our wounded in action work and supporting the Ukrainian special operators, whether they are Ukrainian or whether their home is from a different nation.
So the items represented in the exhibition are collected from the families of Killed and Missing in Action that the foundation works with, and from the active servicemen, Friends of Foundation that we had an honor to help in this or that way at some point in time. And it's really hard to choose one item that is most special to me because all of them are, and I really, really encourage everybody to look into those items and read the story behind, because it's just tells the story of how these people are and how great they are, how talented they are. They're not just soldiers, so I really would like everybody to learn and see that. But if I had to choose one item, I would say it's a portrait, self-portrait of the British fallen warrior that he was doing out on the front, out east. And just because it shows how much he's the same like us, he's just like you or me or I. And it just emphasizes the fact that these people are talented surgeons or movie makers or poets or maybe restaurant chefs, but they decided to be here with us just because it is so important and despite all the dangers, and we're grateful.
Над проєктом For Freedom працювала і продовжує працювати команда з більш ніж 100 людей. Це куратори, художники, дизайнери, інженери, комунікаційники. Робота особливо активно триває перед відкриттям. І ми сподіваємося, що результати нашої кропіткої праці музею та фонду сподобаються і будуть оцінені нашими відвідувачами.
Виставка For Freedom складається з 3 блоків. Перший блок – це міжнародна підтримка, другий блок – це бойові дії за участі іноземців, і третій блок – це персональні історії воїнів.
So, what can I say about the place that I'm standing? I'm standing in a museum that represents so much to me. It represents a history of a people, of their fighters, of independence, of freedom. It represents to me as an American veteran and a survivor, I would say, for the most part, of multiple conflicts for my country in support of my nation in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. It symbolizes unity amongst brothers. It symbolizes to me an honor to memorialize those that not only have paid the ultimate sacrifice of giving their life, but also those that have been wounded and can no longer fight, but still fight in spirit. Walking through the halls of this museum, I see an incredible amount of work that took place to not only create such a beautiful exhibit, but also the love that built this exhibit through the people that have set it up. It is remarkable, it is amazing, and it is very moving.
Від ідеї до втілення минуло 3 місяці. І ця виставка вже сьогодні говорить міжнародною мовою. Мовою людяності, мовою пам'яті, мовою любові. І я сподіваюся, що ця виставка зайде в серденько кожному, хто прийде цими експозиційними площами. Кожному, хто побачить фотографії героїв, які віддали життя за Україну. І неважливо, чи ти буде іноземець, чи українець, нехай його серденько відгукнеться настільки, аби він відчув і сум, і водночас мотивацію робити щось більше для України далі. Тому що ця ціна, яку заплатили за нас дівчата і хлопці, вона надзвичайно велика. І ми просто не маємо права забувати про них. Ця виставка присвята насправді об'єднує і українських, і іноземних героїв. Показуючи сторону іноземних героїв, ми хочемо акцентувати на тому, як багато гине наших, як багато іноземних партнерів допомагає зараз Україні, як багато іноземних бійців летить прямо зараз, напевно, в літаку, аби допомогти нам в Україні. І ми хочемо акцентувати на цьому і дати можливість подумати про майбутнє України кожному українцю сьогодні, кожному іноземцю, кожному європейцю, кожному, хто сьогодні сидить вдома і має спокійне життя, подумати про цінність життя сьогодні і про цінність свободи. Свободи, яка дає тобі жити, як ти хочеш. Планувати життя, як хочеш. Народжувати дітей, планувати їх майбутнє і бути вільним.
Дякую. Дякую. Передаючи слово нашим американським партнерам, які продовжать модерацію цього заходу, я хотів би скористатись нагодою і ще раз подякувати фонду Weatherman в особі співзасновника фонду пана Ендрю Дункана, а також президентки фонду пані Meaghan Мопс. Дякуємо вам за цей унікальний досвід співпраці, за унікальний досвід солідарності, за унікальний досвід посвяти в ім'я високих ідеалів. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Yuri. At R.T. Weatherman, we have a couple of phrases that we like to say. One is, we fill gaps. And second is, many hands make light work. So there was a lot of people not on the stage today that were a part of this exhibit, and that includes families from all around the world, over 23 different countries, 23 different nationalities that we work with. And so this is just my call out to them, to thank them for participating and for giving part of their family to not just this exhibit, but to Ukraine. In addition, of course, this wouldn't be possible without all of our defenders, and so I'd just like to applaud all of the defenders and veterans from around the world in this room today. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here just to support this mission. Next, we'll have a couple of speakers, so I'll actually pass it to Masha, but thank you again.
Thank you, Lauren. А зараз до слова запрошується командир і засновник 2-го інтернаціонального легіону оборони України у період з листопада 22 року по листопад 24 року, полковник Руслан Миколайович Мирошниченко. Просимо.
As a battalion commander, I'm accustomed to come to the stage with their own cup. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, I would like all of you who are gathered here to say thank you to alive legionnaires who are here in this audience. Because one of the nuance of this war, of any war, we are always late to tribute a life. And this exhibition about a life and death, or a life and fallen brothers and sisters in arms. So to be the commander of the International Legion, this is about not only to lead, this is not only about forming the family, the international brotherhood, the sisterhood of fighters for their freedom. This is about to lose This is about to bury. And this is the most painful part. So I would like to say really thank you very much for those who made this exhibition happen, to help us to tribute alive and dead brothers and sisters. This is very important. Just a couple words about Second Legion. I was privileged to form 2 international units for last 1 and something thousand days. The first international company and the Second Legion as a separate battalion. I would like to stress upon the historical precedent that the unit called Second International Legion demonstrated and showed the courage and the heroism in Serebransky forest, defending the forest 14 months without rotation, without replacement. We started from 1 trench for 8, and we finished in 2024 in July, having 1 kilometer of the front line. The unique story about this, that this line was held by line commanders from United States, from Brazil, from Ukraine, replacing each other. We had like 3-4 days rotation. And this is about the trust, this is about the courage, and this is about professionalism. And this is about, again, the brotherhood and sisterhood. So, once again, thank you for, well, first of all, for me, for opportunity to speak. It's not an easy thing to do. Once again, I see familiar faces here. I see Americans, I see Georgians, I see Belarusians. I see brothers and sisters from different countries who joined our fight. Finishing my short speech, I would like to show this cap. This cap was a gift from me to young soldier Maria from Belarus. It was a Christmas present from me. My call sign is Santa. So Santa is supposed to give gifts for Christmas. So this gift was given to Maria. She joined the Legion in autumn 2022. It was a kind of transition and transformation for this young lady, joining my Legion as a paramedic and finishing her Legionnaire career as a very resulted sniper. She died. She was killed in action this year, just the second day after her birthday, 24 years birthday. So this cup contains her patch, and the patch says in English, "Zero tolerance to invaders." I would like all of you to remember this. Zero fucking tolerance to fucking invaders. This is the truth. There is an invader, and we must kick them out of our country. And this is the soldier speech. So I would like to give this cup and patch to Mr. Yuri. So I think This cup should work here right now and work for freedom.
Ми представимо цей експонат в експозиції. Дякуємо за цей символ пам'яті і боротьби. Пане полковнику, героям слава!
Next, we'll have Mark Janetta, a former U.S. Army infantryman who followed the call to join the International Legion in 2022, now a Ukrainian veteran, call sign Gino.
Everybody always asks me, well, why did you go? That's the number one question. Why does anyone leave their home and come here to fight? And I have 2 daughters, so everybody uses that as an excuse why I shouldn't come. And honestly, it was the reason why I did come. Because I saw the news of what was happening here in Ukraine, and one story in particular was about a little girl called Polina that was killed trying to flee Kyiv when the Russians first invaded. And I saw that story, and it just resonated with me because I have 2 daughters. That little girl looked just like one of mine. And so I came out here. I served 3 times, and the 3rd time I came out here, I met a guy on the train, an American called Tommy, and I took him under my wing because it was his first time coming, and I thought, man, I'm going to save this guy. I'm going to help this guy out. He's going to need me. And then we went into the trenches, and I got hit with a grenade. And guess who saved who? Tommy saved me. And so in the end, he was there for me, not the other way around. And I flew home Thanksgiving Day 2023. And that night, my team leader, Super Dave, gave me a call. And he said, I'm sorry, Gino, but I got bad news. Tommy was killed in a car crash out here in Ukraine. And so we lost Tommy, who had saved my life. And then from there were 7 of us foreigners went into the trenches that day. And 3 of them have now passed away since then. And Rogue Team, who I served with in the Legion, they have now lost another 4 guys. So we've lost 7 guys in the last year, including Super Dave, who was the team leader. This is deeply personal to me, like to have an exhibition. Like, I'm so grateful to the Weatherman Foundation. These guys got me to Germany for care. They're raising awareness, they're supporting Ukraine, and they're also, just on a personal level, help basically save my life, and a lot of the other guys. I appreciate everybody that's here today and for all your support. Slava Ukraini, that phrase, takes on a whole different meaning now. I'm sure you'll appreciate. And love has no man greater than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. And so I respect all of you for being here today. And the only way to end any of this is to say, Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Gino. And our next speaker is another war veteran in Ukraine. Please welcome Grizz, a U.S. Marine and a Ukrainian veteran.
Bear with me. I'm a very lucky, unlucky person. The first time I got blown up was in Afghanistan, 2008. You should probably turn the microphone down. I yell. First time I got blown up was in Afghan 08. We were going through an alley. I was up on a 50 cal, lead Vic in a turret. We only had flank firing protection, had nothing to the front except me. While I'm engaging, I see one Taliban pop up with an RPG tube. I didn't know there were 2 other guys on the flank of him. As I go to do a quick sight to get a proper sight alignment sight picture on him with a quick sight, everything goes black. Everything goes wee, right? Boom, right? But because I'm a brainwashed Marine, I stayed on the trigger. As I was vomiting from the concussion, stayed on the trigger, and I kept laying down lead, right? Couldn't see anything, but I knew it was in the right direction. Later that day, we're on our way out, and I got two Brits in the back, right? And this was my first time working with other members of the world, basically, other than Marines or Army. And I got two Brits in the back seat. On our way out, we're taking some pot shots. Way out of range, no accurate fire, nothing like that, no threat. Just a kind of, hey, fuck you, you didn't get all of us. So as they're doing their pot shots, there's also this huge bee that comes in. It's hovering like an A-10 warthog, like the sound of the gun is like, winding up. So that giant bee starts hovering over my turret. I'm not a big fan of bees, okay? So as this bee, keep in mind I got a big mess in my turret. I got all these empty 50 cal bracings. They're big brass, right? Empty ammo cans, things like that. I panicked a little bit. In my panic, I end up falling. I'm wearing full gear, so I hit hard, right? So the two Brits, they care about me because we're bros, you know? So like, oi mate, where you hit, mate? Where you hit? Show me where you hit, right? I'm still focused on the threat like a true Marine should be. I'm focused on the threat above. I'm like, no, bro, I'm good. There's a fucking bee in my turret. It won't leave me alone. There's like an awkward pause, and then one of them says, oi, mate, you won't get down for bloody RPGs. You get down for insects. You Marines are fucking crazy, okay? So the second time I got blown up was also in Afghanistan. In 2011, I stepped on an IED pressure plate, okay? Fortunate enough to keep both my legs. Third time was a little different. It was in a place that I wasn't expecting to be. Out here, this was during the counteroffensive at Kharkiv, working with a unit of Legion members while basically embedded with Ukrainian units, okay? I was going back and forth thinking about what to say for this, especially because I was expecting it to be like a dozen people. I didn't know there'd be like cameras and shit. So some things, I know this is about the Legion and things like that, but it's about brotherhood, and it's also about sisterhood. Because as we all know, it's not just the bros, it's the girls too. Everyone does their part, everyone does they do their thing and they get it done. And I was going back and forth thinking what to say, and I think about my 6 weeks in the hospital in Kyiv that R.T.W Weatherman Foundation helped coordinate and things like this to take care of me. On top of that, so that's the American side, right? But then I thought about my Ukrainian bros from different units that when they had some time off, so they'd either come in, or if they couldn't make it off the line, they would send their bros to come in and be like, hey, get that dude some pivos, budlaska. You know what I mean? So they're sneaking me beers into the hospital. I remember my friend's wife, he couldn't make it, so he was sending his wife and daughter. Like every other day, they'd restack me with fresh food, all the borscht I could dream of, okay? And this is what I mean. It's just that brotherhood and sisterhood that I experienced brotherhood in Afghanistan and Iraq when I was there. And I'm not getting into politics, but it was different than what I've experienced here. Because this was an invaded nation, and it just seemed just, and with no argument, 100%. I recently went to that same hospital a couple months ago to visit some more Ukrainian bros. And what did I bring them? I brought them beef jerky, free workout powder, and beer. Okay? Because you could do push-ups next to the hospital bed. It's okay. The R.T.W Weatherman Foundation also helped coordinate the man that saved my life, that got me off the X after I got hit. That was Jericho Sky McGowan. I call him Shepherd. All right? And bear with me for another, 60 seconds. I'm going to read something I wrote about Shep. Shep is the reason that I'm able to stand here today. I met him in the summer of 2022 at a forward operations base that had a couple different teams working out of it. He was an easy to get along with dude, the opposite of me, that was somehow also better looking than me. I'm not the friendliest person when I meet new people, but with him, I just knew I could trust him. He was dedicated to his craft, and it was clear to see that he truly just wanted to help the people around him, whether they were civilians, adjacent unit operators, or teammates. I had only known him for a couple months when he saved my life. Most of the things that happened on September 20th, 2022, outside of Kharkiv, are foggy, and when I woke up at the hospital, a lot of that day was still foggy. A lot of it still is. It took me a few months for those details to reestablish a clearer picture. I remember sprinting to a covered position as explosions were going on around me when suddenly everything went black. Shocking. It happens more than once, you know. I woke up to the ringing in my ears, and I wasn't able to see anything. The only thing that I've remembered clearly since waking up at the hospital is hearing Shep's voice when he ran to recover me from an open position while enemy fires were still incoming. I thought I was dead, and I heard his voice, and then I felt his hand on my left shoulder. He immediately picked me up and took me to a covered position. He passed me off to some other teammates that were in cover, and they ran back out to get our wounded interpreter. Once he recovered the terp, he took over half the team and started to continue to move them out of that position, guiding them away from the Russians that were in the process of encircling us. He was able to get the rest of the team to safety. The things I remember most about Shep are exchanging tactical operation approaches, gym workout routines, his passion for the team, and his love for dogs. He was one of the few that shared a soft spot for dogs like me. We ended up stealing one from an abusive local owner and got the dog sent to a charity organization where it now lives a great life free of neglect and abuse. I also remember one of the last times I saw him. He came to visit me in the hospital. Shocking, he snuck me a few beers. What do you know? Against the doctor's orders. Being the man that Shep was, he knew that bro code will always come first and outweigh any medical orders. I've had some rough times since that day I got hit, and I've had plenty of moments where I felt sorry for myself, gotten lazy, or lost focus on living a meaningful life. The only thing that allows me to snap myself back into reality and a disciplined mindset is when I think of Shepard and friends like him that I've lost in different war zones over the years. They were not given an option to quit. They pursued a life to make the world around them a better place, and Shepard was one of them. He's the reason I'm able to stand here today, and I'm forever in his debt.
Thanks, Grizz. In the gallery, you'll find a portrait of another U.S. Marine, one of our now fallen heroes of Ukraine, Ethan Hertwick. He was only 19. He was only 19 when he answered the call to come to Ukraine to serve and find a way to be helpful with his experience and background. And here tonight we have his family, Ethan Hertwick's family. Please come up. We've had the privilege and pleasure to get to meet the Hertwick family. This is their second time to Ukraine. This is Leslie and John, Ethan's parents, and Hannah and Gabriel, Ethan's siblings.
It's pretty amazing that we're able to even be here tonight. We just found out February 3rd that our son had been recovered after 14 months of waiting. We're standing up here tonight representing every foreign family and families the R.T. Weatherman Foundation is helping who have lost a loved one fighting for Ukraine's freedom. Our son, Ethan Hertwick, was a U.S. Marine veteran, pretty young. He went in at 17. His career didn't take off like he had hoped and planned, and found himself honorably discharged shortly after he went into the School of Infantry. He wasn't happy. When Russia invaded, he answered the call. He told us, if I don't go, who will? If I don't step up and stand up and do what I believe in, then who will do it? And he always challenged us in that, in standing up for what we believed in and taking action. He came to Ukraine for freedom. He didn't come here for politics. He came here for the people and to fight for freedom, for the people here. He was an American that stood for freedom, no matter where it was, whether it was Ukraine or wherever he could go to help, he was going to answer the call. When he came here the second time, March 2023, he went to Poland first and got his combat medical license because he knew he wanted to come here and help save lives. He wanted to fight, but also to help save lives in a medical position. Then he was referred to go to the Trident Defense Initiative and help there where he could use his skills in combat fighting. He may not have been in the Marine Corps for a long time, but he had a really exceptional skill set. He knew what he was doing. He knew how to fight. And we heard many stories from guys since then and how well he used an AK-47 for someone being from the US. He was good at it, but he went to TDI and helped train Ukrainians there, taught them combat skills, taught them how to save lives. And we were told after every training cycle, when they would graduate Ukrainians to go out, that he would cry because he knew that he was sending them out to a front line and he wasn't with them, that he couldn't be there to make sure that they would be okay. And it was after a few months there, in one of his last training cycles, he decided it was time for him to go and to be on the front lines to help. And that was his mission from the beginning. He didn't go blindsided. He went knowing full well what he was going to do. He knew that he had our support as loving parents, and that was important for us, that we showed him love and support, and this is what he knew he had to do. He ended up going with the 131st Reconnaissance Battalion for a few months. They became a family. He did missions with them and got to just form a family with them. He decided, he and two other of his brothers there moved on to the Chosen Company of the 59th. That is where on December 4th, 2023, they were on a mission together, and he was killed trying to rescue his brother who had been hit. We were told he took out 12 Russians. We don't know if that's true, but we're going with it. But he was covering their unit, and his brother was hit. He moved out of his position to help save his life, and in turn, he was hit. But he lived for a couple hours. He was able to help render aid, even though he had been hit. He gave his life for his brothers. He saved his unit for what he did at 21 years old. 21 years old, he went as a young man here to help. We got the call December 11th from the U.S. Embassy that our son was missing in action but presumed dead. What do we do? As Americans, you'd think your kids with the U.S. military, everything's taken care of. Here we were, an American family. Our son came to a foreign country to help and was killed. Now what do we do? The R.T.W. Weatherman Foundation has been amazing. We have been able to get through so much over the 14 months with their help, their direction, just everything they have done. I can't even go into, it would take forever to go into everything they have done for us. And we have been so blessed, us and many families, and Shep's family, I know his mom, Andrew Weber, Lance Lawrence, oh gosh, I can name all of the other guys that we know their families. we didn't know we'd ever get to come. We got the call February 3rd, so just a few weeks ago, that his remains had been recovered through an exchange. Never imagining we'd get the call, and we got it, and I breathed. I felt like I hadn't taken a breath in 14 months. And all I know is I took the loudest sigh I ever had done, and I started crying. It was bittersweet because he's not coming home alive, but we're able to move forward and to lay him to rest at home in California where he grew up. So we came here. We said when he was recovered, if and when we would come here again as a family for his repatriation. So we're here, and we were so happy we got to be here for this tonight because it was just so random that it happened to be while we were here. So we are so excited to be here. If you want to read more of his story and his bio, it's with the portrait. There was a portrait that an artist in New York City, Tatiana Horoshko, did of him. She's Ukrainian. It's pretty amazing. I just want to leave you with a quote that Ethan said all the time. All that's necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Slava Ukraini.
Back in 23, or was it 2020? My dates are 23 when he came out. Yeah. Back in 2023, the second time Ethan came back to Ukraine, the second time. At the airport, I didn't try to stop him, but I said, Ethan, is there anything I can say or do to make you not get on that plane? And he knew full well, before he said to me no, he had my full support. And this wasn't the way that I expected to come into a relationship with a beautiful country, beautiful people, and so many organizations, or the R.T.W. Weatherman Foundation, for supporting us through all this. I'm thankful now that I've gotten to see what I've seen, because before I was really just your average American living your comfortable life, knowing that there's something going on across the world that's not really affecting you and your everyday way of life. But Ethan was a challenging individual. He always wanted to make sure that we saw from his perspective about what was really going on. And even after speaking to him through Signal on the phone, the first couple months before he went to the front lines, the reality of wartime still hadn't really affected me. It hadn't sunk in yet, because what am I trying to say? He still seemed like that hang on, I'm sorry. It would, the reality hit when I knew that there were more mortar attacks coming in the background during training, and the fact that his life was really at a point now where there's danger going on. And I am so thankful for these guys that have been doing for years what he had just started doing, that I could trust him being in care, or I could trust them with being with my son and knowing that he was with great people. And I'm very proud as a father, and I want to thank you guys for letting his short legacy live on. I just want all these guys who have given their life to not have their lives given in vain, and I know it won't now. And I'm thankful to you for everything that you've done and for Weatherman. So I know you're thankful for the men and women who have given their lives, but I'm thankful back. So Slava Ukraine.
Slava Ukraini.
Having the honor to work with these families, it always makes me want to know the fallen guys, but we have the honor to know them through you guys, and they will live on in our hearts, truly. An American, Jennifer Malie, is a mother of 2 beautiful girls, but also Jennifer is a combat medic, and now she's defending Ukraine as a part of Ukraine Armed Forces. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight due to the battlefield situation, but she sent us a video and we wanted to give her her voice. So I would ask the team to please share her video.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Malie. I apologize that I'm not there this evening, but I'm on the East on a combat duty and I was unable to come. So please accept my apologies. I love the Weatherman Foundation. It's been fundamental in helping with the health of the soldiers that I work with and so many others here in Ukraine. So thank you for coming to this event. I started working in Ukraine in May 2022 with NGO that embedded with the Ukrainian military. I worked in various places doing evacs, evac from trench to CCP, from stab, critical care, intubated patients to higher level care. I did mine duty. I did everything basically. During that time, I met someone named Andrew Weber, a great American. On one of the flights back from Los Angeles, I would subsidize myself flying back and forth to Los Angeles, grouping a few weeks, working in emergency department in Los Angeles, and then flying immediately back. Andrew was on one of my flights. We started talking. It turns out that he knew people that my brother knew, my brother also being a West Point graduate, and we developed a friendship. I maintained contact with Andrew as he moved through Ukraine, helping training, and eventually going to 59th Brigade Chosen Company. Andrew invited me down to Chosen Company to help with their medical program. Right before I was going to go down there, after I had promised him I would come, I went back to make some money in Los Angeles. And when I got back to Ukraine, Andrew had been killed. So, as you can imagine, I was horrified, just like every other person who loses someone close. And after taking some time to think about it, I made the decision to fulfill my promise, and I joined Chosen Company in 59th Brigade in the Armed Forces of Ukraine. I then went through Battle Avdiivka, which was horrific, to say the least. We had many injured soldiers and heroes in our unit, and I lost a lot of my brothers during that battle. The Weatherman Foundation was amazing in that if I was not on QRF, Quick Reaction Force, or CCP, I was responsible also for making sure that the soldiers had a continuity of care. What the Weatherman Foundation would do is they would get the guys and arrange everything in Dnipro to Kyiv, and then they would orchestrate everything with Landstuhl, the United States military base, and the guys would have the best care possible from the United States military, which I would like to take this time to express my sincerest gratitude to the United States military for the excellent care and support that they gave the armed forces of Ukraine and myself and brigade during Battle Avdiivka, and they continue to do. So thank you so much. God bless America. The Weatherman Foundation not only helped with the continuity of care for the soldiers, setting up and making sure they were okay, but the soldiers that we lost, they maintained contact with their families and helped them navigate a system that they were unfamiliar with after they lost a loved one. So I want to express my sincerest thanks to the Weatherman Foundation. Without you, the care that these guys received wouldn't have been possible. Thank you so much for what you do. God bless you. I myself was injured a few months ago, had a surgery in Kharkiv Military Hospital, and I would like to thank you for being very patient with me after coming back to the front line after only 4 weeks. I think healthcare providers are the worst patients ever, so thank you. I appreciate everything that you do. Words cannot express how much I appreciate what you do for the soldiers here in Ukraine. If anyone has any questions, the Weatherman Foundation can give you my contact information. I am more than happy to answer them. Thank you again for coming out. God bless America. Slava Ukraine.
Зараз для нас зіграє квартет Київського камерного оркестру Національної філармонії України. Будь ласка.
Next, I'd like to welcome Dr. Meaghan, the president of the R.T. Weatherman Foundation. And without Meaghan, none of this would have happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, whether I have known you these last 3 years or we are just meeting for the first time tonight, thank you. Thank you for being here, for spending time with us. I also know I am what stands between you, the exhibit, and a cocktail, so I will work to be quick. But first, I'd like to extend some gratitude to Andrew Duncan and Beth Weatherman, who I know wishes she was here. You make miracles happen, and whatever serendipity placed me in your lives, I will be forever grateful. You are American patriots. Who believe to whom much is given, much is expected, and you give, and you give, and you give. Ukraine has few better friends than you. And if Beth and Andrew are miracle makers, the R.T. Weatherman Foundation are miracle workers. All of you inspire me every day. You always find a way, or you make one. No mission is too big or too small. You do your work with quiet pride and generous spirit. I do not know what I did to earn the privilege of standing by your side, but I am forever grateful. To Yuri, where's Yuri? Where did Yuri go? To Yuri, oh, there you are. To Yuri and his staff, I can remember sitting across the table from you in our first meeting, which was not so long ago, and you asked me, Meaghan, how soon do you want to do this exhibit? And I said, 90 days. And you didn't hesitate. You said, we can do that. We can do that. That single statement, we can do that, is the hallmark of every Ukrainian I've ever met. You have backbones of steel and boundless optimism. It is no wonder Ukraine is so resilient in her resistance. To every fighter here, it does not matter the color of your passport or the country of your birth. Whether you are Ukrainian or American, British or Dutch, Lithuanian or a New Zealander, you fight for a common cause, united in a shared spirit. You will never know the pang of regret of failing to meet the demand of a moment. You will never have to doubt the measure of your worth or the courage of your convictions. Few can count themselves so lucky. The world owes a debt of gratitude to every defender who stepped into the gap between good and evil, and my God, are we lucky that such men and women live. For those on the front right now, you may never hear these words, but it is my hope by speaking them into the world, they will reach across time and space and multiply. We cannot, we must not, we will not forget what you have given, what you have lost, and what was taken from you. To the families of the fallen, it is you who bear deep scars and know the steep cost. Empty chairs at quiet tables, cold halves of beds, endless missed holidays, and forever lost moments. How do you repay such a debt? I don't know, except to make sure all who gave their lives here are remembered and their legacy is passed down generation by generation so that people do not forget the cost of freedom and those who paid it. There is a reason in many cultures, those who die in battle go to their own special place in the afterlife. For as it says in the Bible, which was said earlier, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And finally, to the person who is the very reason this exhibit exists, a quiet professional whose love for his country and its people runs with a remarkable intensity and passion. My dear friend, Roman Moshevitz, whose unwavering dedication to what is just and right inspired this moment. It was he who asked me months ago, with quiet conviction, if I had been to this museum. I confessed with a bit of shame, not only had I not visited, I didn't even know such a place existed. Without hesitation or judgment, he calmly said, "You must go. It is important. You need to see." Those words, simple and profound, hold the weight of someone who understands the value of memory, of history, of honoring sacrifice. So I took his advice, and then I came, planning to stay here for 1 hour. And I stayed for 3. And it was after spending time in the recreated bunker that's meant to show people what it was like in the early days of war, where Ukrainian women and children and the elderly huddled together, communing, praying, hoping, and surviving Russia's aggression, that we climbed out of that darkness to the next level. We entered into the hall where the icon, the descent from the cross, is hung with an embedded Russian mine fragment. A reminder that Russia does not just try to take land, but they try to erase a people, a culture, a history. It was then that my eye fixed upon a small glass case in the corner. In it was a pair of tactical shooting gloves and an American flag. And next to it was a small placard that basically said, "From an American volunteer who served here in combat." The good Lord did not bless me with the eloquence of words to describe to you what I feel when I see the flag of my birth. I have seen it flown outside my parents' house every day since the day I was born. I have seen it clutched in the hands of my daughters as they waved it proudly on the 4th of July, our Independence Day. I have seen it flown over embassies all around the world in countries that hated us and countries that loved us. I have seen it on the shoulders of men and women as they prepare to go into combat. I've seen it draped over coffins in quiet fields in Afghanistan. And I have seen it folded and handed to weeping loved ones mourning the death of their soldier. Because you see, to me, the flag means more than just government or territorial integrity or sovereignty, though these are certainly vital. For me, it transcends these worldly things. It stands for a higher value: freedom, liberty, fraternity, and brotherhood. Values that are being fought for today, values that still inspire men and women to stand tall and face the darkness with unyielding resolve. It is those values that make this exhibit so important, that bring meaning to the sacrifices and remind us why we must never falter in the fight for what is right. But my friends, I have a confession to make in this place of history. I fear some of us in the West have become so consumed with the idea of peace that we have forgotten the true meaning of it. We have come to believe that peace above all else is the highest virtue. Yet, peace at any cost is not peace. It is surrender, dressed in the false guise of virtue. In many of our societies, we have allowed comfort to become our guiding star and the pursuit of ease our mission. But from this mindset grows the insidious belief that there is nothing worth fighting for, that there's nothing worth dying for. This is just not a misguided thought. It is a dangerous lie, a lie that seduces us into forgetting what truly makes us human. For when we believe that nothing is worth defending, we lose the very essence of what it means to be free. I am a soldier, an old soldier, and we live by a code. We do not fight merely against what stands before us, We fight for what lies behind us, our families, our homes, our faith, our way of life. These are the things worth defending, worth laying down everything for. And we do so not because we are warmongers, but because we understand the greatest sacrifice we can make is to die for what we believe. This belief is deeply rooted in our Western and shared Judeo-Christian values, where the highest calling is sacrifice. Sacrificing for those we love, for the truth we hold dear, for the ideals that transcend this world. Christ himself laid down his life, not for his own comfort, but for the salvation of others, teaching us that, in fact, sacrifice is the highest form of virtue. And this, my friends, this is the nature of a soldier's heart, a heart forged in sacrifice, in devotion, and the deep understanding that life, true life, is only meaningful when it is defended, when it is worthy of being fought for. So I ask you now, each of you here, and all of the people of the free world, to embrace the soldier's heart. We must cast aside the illusion that comfort is a right, that freedom is a passive pursuit. True freedom, true peace, demands courage. It demands sacrifice. It requires an unwavering commitment to the values that define us, not just in moments of ease, but in moments of struggle. The soldier's heart is not one of violence, but one of resolve. It knows that peace is precious only when it is hard-won and fiercely protected. It understands that liberty is fragile, a gift that needs defenders, not spectators. And a soldier's heart is not bound by borders or by flags. It lives in all who are willing to put aside their ease to confront the world's injustices head on for the good of others, for the good of the future. It is a heart that loves its nation deeply and firstly, but does not serve one nation alone. It gives to the cause of human dignity and the freedom of all. And so as you walk through this exhibit, I ask all of you, like Roman did to me, to see beyond the faces, to feel the soldier's heart, see the sacrifice, see the courage, the unwavering devotion to a cause greater than self. Because they are why I have hope and I have faith, and I pray that you do too. For there may be a time in the not so distant future when more than just Ukraine is called upon to stand firm in the gap between good and evil. And when that time comes in the free world, our guiding principle, our rallying cry must be the same for us as it was for them. And quite simply, it's for freedom. Thank you.
Шановні гості, дякую, що завітали. Наголошуємо, що зараз відбудеться прес-брифінг разом із Meaghan Mops і Юрієм Савчуком, тож запрошуємо пресу до прес-волу. For the press, there's going to be a press briefing right now with Yuri Savchuk and Meaghan Mops, so please proceed to the press wall.